soon Valve will be releasing the last console it will ever release, because we all know Valve can count the three. And technically, well, this isn't their second console, but it's their second device. They already made the Valve Index, so
Everyone knows
you know.
outside-in tracking is just better for VR gaming. It's faster, more accurate, and it's more reliable.
Oh, it's so nice.
Well, here's the thing. Valve isn't everyone, and the new Steam Frame
Is this the...
took my expectations of a lousy, flaky experience in a standalone VR headset with camera-based positional tracking and blew them away. They also blew away my
Are you telling me this isn't using lighthouses?
expectations for their new Steam Machine and Steam Controller, but that's
I saw the Steam Machine. I think conceptually it's cool, but I'm iffy on it because from what I've seen, there's no mention of a price tag, which makes me think it's going to be really expensive.
Video. We'll have that link down below.
I'm
in
kind of
2 words or
indifferent
less,
on that
this
at the
thing
moment.
is impossibly good, and maybe more importantly, impossibly versatile. They managed to make it lighter, more comfortable, and higher fidelity than the OG Index for PC.
To be fair, the
VR
Index
gaming.
came out like
They managed to
4
bolt
years ago,
an
5 years ago.
ARM-based computer to it that runs mobile VR games and applications. You can even just sideload an Android APK, and the whole thing runs freaking SteamOS with a new element to their Proton compatibility layer called FEX that allows you to play desktop VR games. I'm talking x86 Windows
Okay.
VR games on your ARM Linux VR headset. I would mic drop this, but I think I'd get in trouble. The last part I wouldn't believe if I
Gabe
didn't
would just
experience
kick
it for
down the door.
myself. But they did all of this with latency that is indistinguishable from the best VR experiences that I've
Yeah,
had.
I'm not seeing any lighthouses. Although I do see a little thing up there, so maybe...
But is it indistinguishable from the best Segway I've ever had?
I suppose
To
those
our
might be the
sponsor,
trackers.
Jawa. Jawa is your... Frame is a fundamental shift for Valve. Rather than being an accessory for your gaming PC, it's meant to be a standalone device that can also be enjoyed alongside
Like
your
a Quest,
PC
I suppose.
using wireless streaming for VR, which sounds horrible, but somehow it's not. Let's take a closer look at the hardware. Then we can talk about how they did it. The headset that I'm holding is actually made up of multiple components. The core module contains the actual computer and weighs under 190 grams.
Okay,
Then
so
next
nothing.
is an audio module that can be detached with 3 clips under the foam gasket. Then there's the head strap and a battery pack that is cleverly positioned at the back to help counterbalance the device,
yeah.
improving comfort,
As I say,
and
reduce
also
the
to
weight.
make it a little bit easier to cable manage if you
It does look a lot like it's the Quest 2.
wanted to have an external battery pack. The optics are, simply put, flipping incredible. Like
They did
other
a really
leading
good job with their
headsets, they're
index
using
as well.
pancake lenses, but unlike some other headsets that use pancake lenses, there was very little in the way of internal reflections visible in the demo applications that I use today. It is possible that with brighter light sources, it could show up a bit more, but
Yeah,
that's going
that's
to be
always
something
something
that
that
I'll
might
have to
come
save
up.
for the full review. What I can tell you is that under each lens is a 2160 by 2160 LCD
Ooh.
display that's capable of anywhere from 72 hertz, presumably for power saving, up to 120 hertz with a 144 hertz experimental
That's
mode,
nice.
just like we had on the Valve Index.
To be honest, I don't know why the fuck you would need 144 hertz on VR. But I guess it's nice to have that option.
As for why Valve decided to use LCD rather than OLED, it basically came down to the light losses due to the pancake lenses. Ooh, since I'm pointing at them, on the inside of each lens, maybe you could even see them if you went cross-eyed enough, is an eye tracker that's obviously going to be great for social VR experiences, but
Oh, lovely.
perhaps more importantly, enables Valve to do what they call foveated streaming, which I'm going to have to explain later because
what
it
the
gets a
fuck
little
does
in the
that mean?
weeds. First, let's take a look at the control.
My guess is going to be it's tracking exactly like your irises. So if I were to look up like to the top right, like I don't tilt my head at all, I just move my eyes to the top right. Obviously it's going to look different if I'm looking straight forward. So I'm guessing that's what it means.
Valve fully acknowledges that these are very similar to other designs in the market, but they wanted something that was both great for VR and also great for your non-VR applications.
honestly
if
think
you just
that
want to
the
use your headset as a giant virtual
original
display.
Next controllers
And
were
they
peak
still managed to
controller
add
design,
some
but
Valve touches to them, putting capacitive sensing on all input surfaces and on the grips, so you can still do 5-finger tracking just like the Knuckles controllers from the Valve Index.
okay.
They have 2-stage actuating triggers, 2-stage actuating
My wire's
grips, which
cut.
unlocks a ton of control customization. They use the same magnetic thumbstick as the new Steam controller for better reliability
Reduced
and a
stick drift
very
is the
small dead
point.
zone. And they each have their own independent gyros
Is he playing
that can
Beat
be
Saber?
rebound for aiming or whatever you want. I can't tell if they were being suggestive there, given the popularity of certain VR applications, but I can't say for sure that they weren't. Both controllers have an integrated IMU to track positional data and 18 infrared LEDs that can be tracked by the 4 high field of view cameras that are integrated into the frame's core module. These were strategically positioned so that even
So if my hand goes behind my back, it won't be able to track me anymore, is what I'm getting from this.
if you were, say for example, drawing an arrow from a quiver,
Oh.
it should be able to maintain tracking. Now, I didn't get a chance to try that, nor did I get to fire up Beat Saber, my favorite application for evaluating
Bro, it's the only game you know how to play.
controller tracking under extreme conditions. But from just shaking them around in the menu, they seem to track extremely well. Valve is claiming about 40 hours of battery life off of a single AA, and this
Alright.
battery compartment is a perfect transition into the customizability that's on display with this headset. They're going to have an optional accessory kit that includes knuckle straps for the controller,
Fair.
as well as a second head strap with a top Velcro piece if you like a bit of additional support.
I would
personally liked
probably
it better,
use
but
it, yeah.
I also didn't feel like it was necessary like it is on the much heavier Apple Vision Pro. There's a lot more to customize on the frame itself, too. It includes a spacer gasket for folks with long eyelashes and
Me.
to improve compatibility with glasses, but Valve fully
Also
acknowledges
me.
that not everyone will want to use that because it does take away a little bit from their claimed about 110-degree field of view. So they are working on prescription lenses for the headset itself. We even saw a box of them, but there's no specific timeline on that. IPD adjustments are handled with a little knob on the top that spins a cog on the core module, and this is really cool. Right between the goggles at the bottom here is an expansion port that allows up to 2.5 gigabit MIPI cameras, or a single camera with a PCIe Gen 4 by 1 slot, allowing all kinds of possibilities
What would
for additional
you
accessories.
want to do?
Like if you wanted color cameras, for instance. The built-in ones are only monochromatic. Or if you wanted, I don't know, a smell sensor. The sky's the limit. Since we're on the subject of the cameras, Valve says that they will work for inside-out
Alright.
tracking even in pitch darkness, thanks to IR emitters that are built into the headset itself.
That
And
I
you
would
can expect
have to see. Press exit out on that one.
tracking
In
performance
pitch black.
on
okay.
the order of about 200 to 250 updates per
I have
second,
faith in Valve,
which
but
is
just,
about
like,
on
prior
par with the Valve
experiences, you know?
Index. Not something that I expected. Now that I've had a chance to gather my thoughts and eat some crappy airport food, let's talk about how Valve is delivering a PC VR-like experience wirelessly when big names like Apple and Meta have tried and never really succeeded.
Just off the top of my head, it's because Steam, Valve is a gaming company, and Meta and Apple aren't. Just off, like, if you were to really, really dumb it down, that's probably why. Valve has much better information in that aspect than either of those two companies.
It starts with the least interesting looking part, this 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi dongle. Valve built the headset with 2 radios and 2 antennas for Wi-Fi, along with a third dedicated antenna for your controllers or your Bluetooth peripherals.
Okay.
One of those Wi-Fi antennas handles 5 gigahertz for your game downloads, your multiplayer data, your voice chat, etc.
Fair.
The other one connects to a very high-end home router, or more likely, Valve's dongle using the so far mostly unused 6 gigahertz band. This is a perfect use case for 6 gigahertz, since it lacks the wall penetration that you might want for home Wi-Fi, but it excels at avoiding 2.4 and 5 gigahertz channel congestion while pushing huge amounts of bandwidth. With that said, while the theoretical maximum is right up there with wired connections, in the real world it falls well short of that. So what's the secret? Foveated streaming. Seeing this in action blew my flipping mind. Basically,
Pray
the
tell,
idea
Linus.
behind it is similar to foveated rendering,
I don't
where
know
the
what the
headset tracks your eyes and tells your GPU, hey, only render the area of focus at full fidelity and save your resources on the rest of the scene. It's a technique that's been used to great effect on the handful of PSVR 2 titles that exist.
They do it a lot in video games, just normal ones, where if you're not looking in the direction the game doesn't render that because there's no fucking point in rendering the direction you're not looking in. Yeah.
But has been largely untapped on the PC side, largely because it depends on game developers to implement it. And also, most headsets don't have built-in eye tracking, so why would they bother? Foveated streaming then. Again, same idea. Focus your resources wherever the eyes are looking. Except in this case, it's not the GPU saving on rendering resources, it's the video encoding stream saving on bitrate.
Okay,
So
that's
you
kind of
get
based.
crystal clear, high bitrate encoding, exactly where your eyes are looking, and then a little bit blurry everywhere else. At
How
least in
blurry is a
theory.
little bit though?
In practice, it reacted so fast that no matter how quickly I tried to move my eyes, I wasn't able to catch it. But I also don't feel too bad about that. Valve put on an incredible demo for me in Half-Life Alyx, where they highlighted the maximum fidelity window as I was looking around. And even though they say it's only about 10% of the total video stream, it ends up being a pretty large window. Wild. As for the encoding latency, well, thanks to some clever parallelization of the encoding, you can expect anywhere from 1 to 2 milliseconds of extra latency on a modern GPU,
nothing.
and 4 to 5 for a slightly older but still VR-capable one. Not enough to notice or to contribute to significant motion sickness. And it keeps getting better. I managed to get
I
almost
still need to
50
play Alex.
feet away from the dongle without a noticeable difference in the experience. Now, granted, this is still line of sight, but it's a lot
Yeah,
further
it's
than I
still
can
the
get
same
with a
room.
tether. Now, I did bring up the possibility of more than one of these devices causing interference with each other, and Valve said that while they have operated multiple headsets concurrently in the same space, they haven't explored more demanding use cases like packed VR cafes. Moving on to audio.
A little bit off topic. I stand by the fact that at this current moment in time, VR's biggest downfall is not the hardware, it's the software, essentially. It's the games. VR has so few worthwhile games that it's just not really worth buying. You know, like if you're a gooner, okay, you have VR chat, I suppose. But it's like, you know, you might play, like a lot of VR games are almost like arcade games where you play them for 10, 15 minutes and then that's it. Or it's a story driven game. And once you beat the story, there's kind of no point to playing through it again. So it's like, you know, like what?
Built-in solution
We need
is
some good
both
games.
incredibly impressive and also a little disappointing. I'm impressed by the audio quality. They apparently had to use opposing drivers to cancel out the vibrations to make sure that the inside-out tracking wouldn't get messed up, and they sound fantastic. As for the mic, I didn't get a chance to test it, but Valve
imagine
assured
it's
me
fine.
that the mics should carry on the Index's incredible reputation for stellar microphone performance. I'm disappointed because I literally had the engineer who worked on the Index and this new headset in the room with me, and when I asked her for a gaming headset with all this same audio black magic, she just shrugged. So, sorry y'all, I tried. In all seriousness, the speakers don't fire directly into your ears.
Fucking hate it because they won't give it to me in a different product.
So there is a bit
Literally
more sound
complaining
bleed than
that
with
like
the Index.
you can't
but
have more of it.
it doesn't seem like a game breaker, depending on what you're watching and who's around.
Ooh.
The last couple of experiences I want to
He's
talk
talking about
are a
prawn.
huge deal, whether you plan to use them or not. The first is Thex, an open source project that Valve has been contributing, and this is a quote, quite heavily to. It's a translation layer that allowed me to experience a completely standard Windows x86 game, Hades 2 in this case, running directly on the hardware on the frame.
It seems kind of
Talking
pointless, but
x86
okay, yeah.
code designed to run on Windows, running on a Snapdragon 8650 running Linux. Holy freaking mind blown. They're planning a compatibility list a la Great on Deck for the future. But wait a
Okay.
second. Running on Linux? Yeah, Valve's been busy. Porting SteamOS to ARM. How did they drop so much news on one day? The brain.
To be fair, they do that all the time. Like Valve will just do nothing for like 4 years, drop like six things, and then just despawn again. It's just like, oh, okay.
Does everything that you know and love about SteamOS, like fast suspend and resume and performance overlays, except on your VR headset directly. And as I mentioned briefly in the intro, if you blinked, you might have missed it.
Oh yeah,
With
they're already
this new
advertising
ARM
it on Steam itself. I just thought I would check there.
processor comes the ability to, supposedly, run Android APKs by directly sideloading them onto the Steam frame. And given how many VR experiences are designed to run on mobile devices, this is a colossal win. And with Valve's commitment to putting micro SD card slots on all their devices, it can't be too hard to install. Now, there are still some areas where the frame doesn't seem to be industry leading. The light seal isn't perfect,
game?
especially if you compare it to the Beyond 2 with its custom 3D printed gasket. The pass-through cameras, they're just monochromes, so don't expect to be wearing your frame out and about like people did with the Apple Vision Pro for the first week or so. From my very
To be
brief,
fair,
and
people still
admittedly
do that with the Apple Vision Pro, the people who just gamble everywhere.
side-by-side experience, it's also not the highest clarity nor highest dynamic range display I've ever seen, and it's not as light or compact as, say, the big screen Beyond 2. But it's the overall package that should have the entire rest of the industry stopping and going, how do
Yeah, we're not at the point yet where we can really like min-max this sort of thing. We're at the point where it's like, okay, let's just test this to see how this works first.
did Valve,
Then we can
who,
min-max it
as of
later.
2021, supposedly had less than 350 employees, managed to outmaneuver monsters like Meta, who spent 17.7 billion on Reality Labs just last
Because having more employees doesn't make you a better company. You get to a certain point where the more employees you hire, actually the less efficient you become.
fiscal year. I would ask Gaben
And
how it
tech
happened,
is like
but
the
I'm pretty
biggest
sure he's busy on his yacht.
example
All
of
I
that.
know is that I want one, whether it's for wireless PC gaming, native gaming on the road with minimal bulk in my bag, or even just relaxing on the couch watching movies on the big screen. Like, what
Porn.
kind of sucker needs a big TV when this thing exists? So, with the frame
Actually, that's not a bad shout. You don't even need to buy a TV anymore. You can just throw on one of these. It
clearly
would look fucking stupid, but, you know.
taking the place of the Index in Valve's lineup, what happens to all the users of the Index and, maybe more importantly, the third-party ecosystem that exists around its base stations
I
and
doubt
Knuckles controllers?
anything.
The short answer is the Index is EOL. But the long answer is Valve would love to see other players in the VR space approach them about continuing to support or even continuing to manufacture these devices. Whether that'll happen,
Manufacture maybe, support no. I
I
highly
don't know,
doubt it.
but at least Valve is open to the conversation.
Unless there's like a trade where it's like, we'll support the Index if you kind of show us how to make this thing.
Just like I'm open to telling you about our sponsor.
Grammarly. Writing
Bro,
things like a novel.
fucking two sponsors in the same video. Come on.
If you guys enjoyed this video, go check out part 2 on the Steam Machine as well as the new
We can look at the Steam Machine tomorrow. I need a new VR, but there's no games, so I don't know. Actually, if you guys can post VR games to play. I still need to play Skyrim and Fallout 4 VR. But like I played most of the big ones, so I need some nice niche ones to play. If any of you have them, and I will see you all next time.